Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
Those were the days, a shadowy flight into the dangerous world of classic TV. I'm your host, Travis, aka TV's Travis, and I am not a loner. I need help discussing classic television. So with me, I have a crime-fighting badass who drives a talking 1983 Chevy Silverado named Wit, Amy Frost.
Hitchcock was the master of suspense and arguably one of the most influential directors. But only Knight Rider was brave enough to ask, what if Hitchcock had a synthesizer?
Also with me, a man who will only wear shirts with the top 3 buttons undone, Audie Norman.
Michael, I'm trying to reach you, Michael. Where are you? My scanners can only go so far, Michael.
And a suspicious janitor named Mason Voorhees, or as we call him, Stephen Adams.
Look, I know that some people want costumes made of any kind of hair, but me, I'm a discerning costume enthusiast, and I accept only the best. I have a photo of a sample of a lock of gorilla hair, and if I can't get an exact match, well, I'm taking my business elsewhere.
Look, we need to have standards, okay?
Yeah. Costume industry needs to give me the real stuff or no go.
This is Those Were the Days. We talk classic TV, and if you haven't figured it out by now, we're talking about Knight Rider. Knight Rider was a 1982 television series, ran from 1982 to 1986, a total of 86 episodes on NBC, created by Glenn A. Larson. It is the story of Michael Knight, born Michael Long. He was a detective in I can't remember who he was a detective for, but during something happening in Las Vegas, he was shot in the face and nearly died. And so self-made billionaire William Knight decided to give him plastic surgery and rename him Michael Knight. And now he works for his private corporation, I guess, called Flag, which stood for, if I remember it correctly, was the Foundation for Law and Government, Flag. So that's who Michael Knight works for, and he drives, assisting him on his missions, is the Knight Industries 2000, a heavily modified Pontiac Trans Am named Kit, voiced by Mr. Feeney.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And
Yep.
so this show, 86 episodes, and it was kind of a cultural phenomenon in the early 80s. I had a plastic big wheel of Knight Rider. It was a Kit big wheel. Amy, you had that too?
I had that big wheel also.
I envied
Amazing.
that big wheel. Did not have it.
I had no idea the big wheel existed.
Yep.
You missed out.
I just want to jump in with everyone else there.
That's good.
This was the show that kind of shot David Hasselhoff to fame. He had been on The Young and the Restless for a few years before this, but this was really the show that put him on the map. And he plays Michael Knight, and he just refuses to button up those shirts. He's got to let the old chest fuzz show
To be
at
fair,
all times.
it was 1984, and they all did that. It's fine. My bigger problem was that his shirt seemed to be held, like the fabric seemed to be held together purely through will. Like if he stopped thinking about his shirt, the molecules would just drift off of his body.
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
So we are kicking off a month of Halloween and spooky themed episodes. So I decided to find an episode of Knight Rider called Halloween Night, because every single episode of this show had night in the title somehow. And so we're going to talk about that. So it opens up a couple days before Halloween. So the show had 4 main characters: Michael, played by David Hasselhoff. There was William Daniels, aka Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World, was the voice of Kit. He was uncredited in the series. Edward Mulhare played Devon Miles, who was sort of the older British or English gentleman that ran Flag. He was the figurehead for it, and he gave Michael all of his mission briefings and information. And then we had Patricia McPherson as Dr. Bonnie Barstow, who was the technician. She could reprogram Kit and all this kind of stuff. She was in seasons 1 and 3 and 4, but she was written out at the end of the first season. And they replaced her with April Curtis for season 2, but the fans did not like that. And between Edward Mulhare and David Hasselhoff also campaigning for it, they brought her back for the final 2 seasons. So Bonnie is moving into a new apartment, and also apparently very sick. I don't know. We have no background. She's just drinking. She's pouring onto a spoon what looks like maybe castor oil. I'm not sure. Cough syrup.
Cough syrup.
Something
That's
Yeah,
80,
cough
that's
syrup.
that good 80s cough syrup. You know,
Yeah.
the one with
Well,
codeine in it.
Clearly
Thick.
it is, because
Yeah.
Thick stuff.
she drinks down the cough syrup and complains to the people, the rowdy, loud people in the hallway having a Halloween party to keep it down. And while she's doing that, somebody in a gorilla costume comes by, and then they leave. And moments later, they are across the complex in a different apartment. I mean, in literally the time it took her to walk from her front door to her bed, they made it all the way over there. She sees the gorilla attack the woman, choking her in the apartment. He then turns and looks towards her. So she goes for her phone. And I love this part because she goes to grab the phone, which is buried under blankets in her bed. And before she can dial or anything, she just that cough syrup, because it was, again,
The
this
good
was the good stuff.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
hits hard.
Yeah, this was that 180 proof, right?
Yeah.
This is,
On the back of it says, "Do not operate heavy machinery. Ensure you have
Exactly.
8 hours to sleep." Like, it's a big
Yeah.
deal. It's Ambien before we had Ambien.
How I figured out I was allergic to alcohol.
Stuff was good. What I love this scene, and I really could. As I was watching it, I could sympathize with her because I spent my Dragon Con trip in a hotel room right next to the pool, and I was like,
Oh, nice.
yes, you should be angry. It's awful. Parties that you're not in
Kids.
is just around
Yeah.
you sucks.
The worst.
Yep. So the next day, Michael shows up bringing her some flowers as kind of a welcome to the, housewarming gift for her new apartment. But somewhere during the morning, I guess she must have called Devin and let him know what happened, because Michael knows about her seeing something. So we never get to see that she explains to anybody what happened. Just we kind of walk in after that happened. But Michael's there to investigate, even though Bonnie is like, I love the scene where she gives him a little bit of crap, like, "Oh, you're just da, da, da," and he's like, "Ouch, no, I'm here to help." When he walks in too, we get our first view of the spooky groundskeeper maintenance guy for the place, and they're not subtle about
No.
him being a bad guy, right?
So she-
Because
Well,
When she sees the
as-
murder, right? I was like, well, that's kind of Rear Window, huh? And then I was like, oh no, it actually is. Okay, all
Yep.
right, no, they've gone all the way.
Yep.
Fine.
But then when Michael walks in and the camera pans over to that hedge, and here's the maintenance guy just stands up from behind it and starts trimming the hedges, and the music will cue, and it's like, okay,
Mhm.
Well, all right.
we have just tossed subtlety right out the window. We're
Mhm.
4 minutes in. This is cool. And then I also like when Michael goes inside and he hands her the flowers, which she can't smell anything because of her cold or whatever. But then she's like, "Well, I need to find a vase that I haven't unpacked yet. The one I have is being used as a juice canister or whatever."
Yep.
So then Michael just picks up the can that had the juice in it. It's like, "We'll just use this."
I don't
Super helpful,
understand
Michael.
how
Thanks.
pineapple juice is like the only holdover in the canned juice category, right? Like pineapple juice is like, yes, I'm
Yeah.
going to still be a giant can. I will
Yep.
not be a carton.
There is no other way to get it.
No. Well, the acid in the pineapple would eat anything. So. Pineapple's the only food that eats you back, you know?
That's a
And
fair
again,
point.
this was, mid 80s. They just
Oh, yeah.
canned everything.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So she explains to him what she saw, and they go check out the apartment. So they go over there, knock on the door, nobody answers. Knock on the door, nobody answers. So what do? Well, obviously you try the door handle, right?
Sure.
Sure.
It's unlocked. So they go inside, and it's empty. And she swears it was all furnished and there was stuff in there. She couldn't have seen any of that. She saw a white wall behind a gorilla.
Yeah.
But she claims, of course, everything was there. Blah blah blah. Well, Michael's like, all right, let's go. So he decides to go to the neighbors and find out about the party. Right. So he goes to
He's
the.
having a slow week.
Yeah.
There's
He is.
he's like,
Mhm.
yeah, all right.
There's no international espionage going on. He's got nothing from Devon. So he's like, yeah, fine.
It's a
I'll
holiday
find
week.
out
He's
about
got
this.
some time.
Yeah.
So he goes to the apartment and he talks to the woman and asks her. Her name is Denise, and asks her if anybody came to the party dressed as a gorilla, which she claims no one did. Oh, okay. Well, I'll leave you to it then. And as he's leaving, he sees a little tuft of fur
A little
tucked into a
tuft?
doorknob, and okay, it's a
It
big
was
old hunk
really
of fur.
tough.
Yeah.
So he grabs that and leaves.
Under the part of the doorknob, there's no way your hair would get stuck there unless that was one, a bad doorknob, or
Yeah.
two, let me plant some evidence.
Yeah.
Well, having
I
seen
know.
the maintenance guy, it could just be a loose
Well-
doorknob.
This is true.
Can we also just take a step back and talk about how in the 80s a single woman just let some stranger dude into her apartment? to
I
have a
wrote that
discussion for
down.
no
See
good
him?
reason?
I was
Well,
gonna
we
go
do
there
find
too.
out. We do find out it's a singles building.
Mhm.
Which I feel like Bonnie did not actually want a part of, right? Like it feels like this was in her price range, and she's like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
all right, but please just leave me alone."
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was curious who would pick up on the fact that like Michael just sort of invites himself into the apartment, and Denise is just like, yeah, sure, come on in.
She's just
Just
in
down
a
the road.
silky bathrobe and heels.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
on
guess
a
the
different channel, this becomes something else.
Yeah. I'm a private investigator here to investigate your privates.
Mhm.
So
Or it's an episode of Knight
So-
Rider. You know, it can go either way.
yeah,
Yep.
50-50. So Michael leaves and he takes the tuft of fur out to the car where Kit is being how do I put this? Not
Hexed.
abused, hexed. There we go. He's being
Yes.
hexed by a
Mhm.
witch, Esmeralda, who wants Kit as her witchmobile.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, doesn't
Just
everyone?
random.
Like, why is
yeah, sure.
It's not that weird.
So Michael has Kit analyze the fur, which is genuine gorilla fur.
80s
Which-
were a wild time, guys.
Who
And
shaved that gorilla? That's my question.
well, and not only that, but he makes the immediate jump that it's obviously from a gorilla costume. Who in their right mind would be renting out genuine gorilla fur costumes? So he has Kit start
Somebody
looking that up.
Peter's knocking the door on.
Yeah.
So Michael heads back to the building, and on his way back in, a mysterious set of hands suddenly shoves a plant pot with a plant in it off the third floor balcony.
With an audio sting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very
Oh, yeah.
important.
Yeah, we have to have that. So Michael runs into the same apartment. It's apartment 302. Goes in there, and the guy's trying to sneak away, and he grabs him, pushes him up against the wall. He's like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" Da, da, da. Turns out the guy's name is Norman Baines. Yes,
Right.
Norman.
On the
Baines.
nose.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Again,
Somehow gets worse though. Like later in this
Subtlety.
episode, the subtlety somehow gets even worse.
Mhm.
we're already at the subtle level of like a running chainsaw.
Yeah.
And so,
Good.
so as
It's an
Michael is kind of
homage, guys.
yes, as Michael is interrogating this guy Norman Baines, the building owner walks in, and it's like, well, what are you here for? Do you want to rent the apartment? Because the apartment has apparently been empty for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
So Michael leaves,
Mhm.
and then we cut to Bonnie in her apartment. She's cleaning, and she's like cleaning off the top of what looks like, I don't know, a smoke detector or something on the wall, and it knocks a key down, but she doesn't see that. But then she finds the key on the floor and just assumes it's one of the 87 keys she needs for this building, because apparently there's a key to the door to the apartment, the laundry room, the gate outside, There's a, I think there's a
Well,
snack
you get a
cart
singles
somewhere.
community. You want to weed out the sketchy people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be able to work. You have to be able to get through 18 doors using 17 different keys to get to
Because
your
see,
apartment.
if you've already, that's why Denise just let him in. Because if he's gotten past all of that, he has clearly been vetted at least enough to get into the building and to her door. So
That's
she's
true.
probably
Yeah, that's a
fine.
good point.
That's true. While this is going on, she starts to hear water coming from her bathroom, like the shower running. So she goes into the bathroom, pulls back the shower curtain, and the woman that she saw killed is laying in the bathtub.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she freaks out and runs
As
out and
you
finds
do.
Michael. Yeah, she finds Michael. She calls him in. Michael goes in, and the body's gone.
Dun,
It's
dun,
And
not
there's
there
no
anymore.
water.
Yeah.
And there's no water.
No water in the tub.
Let's
And
not forget the subtlety of hearing the Psycho theme in the shower at this point as
Oh
well.
yeah, no, they did
We
not.
didn't.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was.
we hear the strings.
Mhm.
Yep.
That was there.
So she's worried that she's losing her mind, that the fever gave her hallucinations, whatever. Michael's like, no, we're going to figure it out. Somebody's trying to make you feel crazy.
the best part is
Um,
when he asks her how she's doing, like before this, and she's like, "Well, physically, I feel better." It's
Yeah.
like, okay, all right.
So we go to a commercial. We come back, and Michael is breaking into Central Costumes. Again, subtlety and like
Mhm.
originality.
Mhm.
Which
We
is
get a
just
quick
the backlot. Like this,
Yes.
they were like, "This is ideal.
Yeah.
We have a prop room."
Yes, this is perfect.
We don't have to
we
get
have a
anything, releases filed. We'll just
Yep,
go.
no, we're done.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is
This
good.
is
We're just
easy.
gonna go out back.
He has a quick scare with a Halloween decoration that almost axes him, which is dumb. And then he finds the one rack of costumes in the entire place that
Because
has
it's all
the
like
one.
wall sconces.
Mhm.
Like he walks down a whole hall of wall sconces and chandeliers, and you're like, all
Yeah.
right,
Costume
But he
store.
finds
yeah.
and he finds the one rack of costumes with the one gorilla costume that
Mhm.
still has the tag on it, and it was rented by Denise.
Oh,
So Michael's
no.
like, "All right, I'm gonna go lay the smack down." He takes the costume, he steals it from Central Costumes.
And
From
he
Central
he
Costumes
says
where
something
there's
like, "I just rented. I guess I just rented a gorilla suit." No, you didn't. You stole it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
you
didn't
stole
rent
gorilla
nothing.
suit from a place
anything.
that has no security, even though it sells a gorilla suit made of authentic gorilla hair. Like,
right. That is.
okay.
He
I
really
don't
pushes
think
this private eye like a long way in this show. Like I'm amazed that people let him do
Mhm.
just about anything. It's like he's not a
it's
cop.
it's the Sam and Max rule,
He
right? He's
tells us
freelance
that.
police.
Yeah,
Yeah.
freelance
Yeah.
police. Yeah, I'm not a cop. Then why I'm not answering your stupid questions? Get out of my house.
He is going for
Exactly.
people who are operating above the law.
That's
We should
nice.
That's
be
right.
thankful that he's
Mhm.
out there with his chest hair and being all shiny. And his back was real sweaty at one point. And I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
that's that
Mhm.
polyester. You need something that breathes, my dude.
Yeah.
Or keep the jacket on.
Yeah.
So he heads back. He heads back to Denise's apartment, and when he gets there to confront her about having rented that costume, Bonnie's there, and Denise is introducing Bonnie to Simon.
Mm-hmm.
We're just throwing characters at us.
Yeah.
No idea who this dude is. No idea his relationship to Denise, but there he is.
Well, there's a smart way to do whodunits where you know all the characters ahead of time, and then there's the dumb way to do whodunits where you just go, crap, this is getting too simple. Introduce some more things. Throw more people in there. There we go.
We haven't even gotten there yet. So, but they Michael starts to be like, all right, I know that you rented the costume. Why'd you lie to me? And she's like, I didn't lie to you. You asked me if anyone came to the party dressed as a gorilla. It's like, oh, okay. All right.
We're 7 now.
now
We're
you're
7 years old.
Yeah,
We're doing that.
Exactly.
Semantics.
I mean,
lie of omission.
yeah.
So Michael's getting a little more steamed up, and Bonnie's like, all right, let's go. And she grabs him and they leave.
Because she's trying to get it. She's finally
With-
like, oh, I get it. All right, this is actually a great place to live. I see now. And
because she
Michael
met
rolls
Simon.
in being all shiny chested and hairy, trying to ruin everything.
Mhm.
That was a good part, was because Denise at one point, he's like, are you sure? When, he's asking if anybody came as a gorilla. And she's
Mhm.
like, and he's like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, I would have remembered that. I like hairy guys.
Yeah. 80s.
So Michael finds out that the suit was cleaned before it was returned, and he
And
knows
then we
what
get
the cleaner is.
we get his he gets a bad boy point for racism.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you were doing so good, 80s show.
Mm.
You were doing so good. Then you just went hard.
Yeah.
One
Thankfully, it was
strike.
the one line that was like that in the entire show,
Yeah.
or the entire
Yeah.
episode anyway.
Yeah.
So,
So it was a
so
one
he heads
strike.
to the
But,
he heads to the cleaner to find out more information. Then we cut to just a random house, which is the building owner for Bonnie's building, and he's on the phone with somebody talking about how Night is involved, and well, the costume is your issue now, and you're going to have to do something about it. So Michael's leaving the cleaner, throws the costume in the trunk, which of course Kit has to be sassy about. Like, that thing
we
better not
did miss
shed.
the very sophisticated part where Kit confirmed that the hair sample had matched the costume because
Oh,
they
yeah.
did
Yes.
overlay perfectly.
Mhm.
Really
That
good.
that
It was so
killed
good.
me.
I screamed. I was so excited.
Like, oh my
CSI,
god.
eat your heart out.
80
To
science.
their
We have
credit,
Yes.
but to their credit, they used a different image for the second tuft of fur, right? So it wasn't, they didn't just reuse the same graphic to show like gorilla fur matching gorilla fur. They used a different graphic of gorilla fur matching. So I give him credit there. But Michael, on his way out of the cleaner, suddenly a guy in a different gorilla costume while driving a car, because why not, tries to run him down on the road. So then we get a car chase.
This was the
Kit is
best.
so nonchalant about it. Michael, look
was.
out.
Mhm.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
didn't
Kit
program
shows no
urgency
emotion.
into the voice
No.
at all. Mr. Feeney's in the booth,
Mi-
just like, get out. I'm a robot.
And he slides over the
Dude,
roof to
yes.
get
He
back in.
jumped
I
over
was
it.
so
Just
excited. I
a
was like,
full-on
"Oh,
roof slide. That
no."
was
I
great.
was so
That's where those
excited.
polyester pants come in handy.
Mhm.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's all I ever
Because
wanted to do as a
one,
kid.
that car was low to the ground, and two, David Hasselhoff is a tall man, so he
Yeah,
made that.
there was
look
one point where
easy.
he's walking through the doorway, and I was like, "How tall is he? Is 6'4". I
Holy
had
cow.
no idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love Phil Root
Yeah,
in the chat brings up the guys driving the car while wearing the gorilla
Oh, yeah.
costume. Or a gorilla costume, not the gorilla costume, because we've got that
Right.
one. This one's
in the
probably made
trunk.
of mohair,
He
you know?
he never
Yeah, hit this
returned
back
the
up.
second one. He
Yeah.
kept the second one as backup.
Oh, yeah, okay. That
So-
makes sense.
So then we get a car chase, and sure enough, the car chase even has a giant pane of glass
Yes.
on the back of a truck that nearly
And-
gets run over by the first car.
Yep.
That car speeds through the alley, and they're unloading it in an alley for whatever reason. So
Well,
the
they're
first car,
backing out.
Yeah.
The whole
but the-
truck is backing
The
out.
plot demands it,
Yeah.
Travis.
Mhm.
We need a stunt.
Go with it. Go with
So-
it because we need the greatest cut to commercial in television history.
right. So the first
Yup.
car flies past, and then Michael is coming up, and he sees the truck just keeps backing up in the way. So he hits the turbo boost button on Kit, which also apparently has a ramp deployment feature
Mhm.
Yep.
that will
Mhm.
send him in the air. And so it sends him into the air, and coming back from commercial, we see the car crash through and land, and then Michael's like, "Where did he go?" And Kit says, "I don't know. He's off the scanner." And we cut away.
Yeah.
Like, we had to have the break right there.
Nobody,
So
look,
good.
nobody got up to refill their Pepsi waiting for
You
that
did, as
commercial.
long as you had somebody yelling.
Yeah, you don't want to
Yes.
miss
Coming
when
back.
that comes back.
And
My
Steven,
parents-
having not seen this show before, I need to let you know they're contractually obligated to do a turbo boost at least once or twice every episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
good, because that was my
You're going to
favorite
get that
thing.
at the very least.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So after Michael's lost the other car, we cut to later that night Norman arriving at the apartment building again, looking even again very suspicious. Now he's got a
Shady.
bag. He's got a
Uh-huh.
canvas bag, and he's
Where
going
this
into his
went, good
apartment.
Lord.
And he dressed
And
like
his
MacGruber.
boots.
Like, that
Yeah.
killed me.
Yeah,
Like,
he did.
he's totally MacGruber every time I saw him.
Yeah. So Norman is heading into his apartment, looking around, looking suspicious, carrying that big bag or whatever. And now they're leaning so much more into the psycho stuff. The more of the psycho music is playing.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets inside, and then Michael confronts him, scares the crap out of him, asks him why he's got a giant knife strapped to his boot.
Giant Bowie
And-
knife. It's
Yeah,
like this
huge
big.
Bowie knife. And Norman confesses he did it. He's been doing it for years. And here is where we're going to play a quick little game that I like to call, what the hell? I'm going to play you something. I'm going to play you a sound, and I want to know if any of you can tell me what he said here. I have figured it out by this point, okay?
Okay.
But we'll start. I'm gonna start with Amy. Amy, you get the first crack at this.
Mhm.
What the hell does he say here?
I always ready to pass the night before Halloween.
As I always raid the pumpkin patch the night before Halloween.
That's the take they went with,
Yeah.
which
Mhm.
means that either that was the only take, or, and this is what I like to believe, that was the best
Best
take.
take.
Look, did you see this guy talking earlier when he had him shoved up against the wall when we first meet him? The dude's spit is thick. I mean, like I saw just it was just flossing around in his mouth as he was trying to speak. This guy needs a big glass of water before shooting any scene. Like that's what happened. He can't get those words out past the mucus just stuck in his mouth.
One last time. I have to play
That's
this
where
one
Bonnie got
last time.
that's where Bonnie got the cold from.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Norman Baines get nasty spit.
Licking
Oh,
doorknobs.
this was too good to not capture Norman Baines.
I always ready to pass the night before Halloween.
Like,
Which is so funny now. We were talking pre-show about kids sneezing in our faces. And we have it on this episode.
Slow down, Norman. Take a breath.
yeah. Hey, you want to run that one again? No, we're just gonna go with. All right, we'll just go with that.
Film
That's
is
fine.
expensive, Travis. They
I
only
feel
have
like this
so
could
much.
be it could be a potential second strike. If they're like, no, he's simple.
Okay, yeah, you're
I'm
right.
gonna there's a yellow card on this one.
Yellow
A
card.
Mhm.
yellow card.
I feel like the producers are just telling if we shoot it again, we're just gonna have to buy Kodak.
So Michael sits down with Norman and says, "Okay, look, no, why did you take the gorilla suit to the cleaner?" And he's like, "Well, I did it for Denise. You know, she asked me to. She offered me $5, but I said no because she's my friend." And Michael's like, "Well, maybe I'll just go ask her." And he's like, you can go ask her." "Oh wait, no, you can't. She's not there." And I love this exchange. This was the moment watching it where I had the realization and the memory of like, okay, everybody's in on the joke of what this show is. Like
Yeah.
the people making it
Mhm.
know, because Norman is like, "No, you can't go and see her. She's left or she's gone."
Gone.
And Michael's response is like, "Why do you make that sound so final?" He's like, "No, I just mean till tomorrow." And he's like, "No, that's okay," and leaves. But it was just, I'm like, yeah, Hasselhoff knew exactly what show he was involved in here.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I do want to
Yeah.
say there's no way Norman is carving those tiny pumpkins with that giant knife.
Mm-mm.
Not
no,
happening.
but he does take the knife to the pumpkin to end the scene. So
Yes.
With the
with, again,
weirdest sound. It wasn't even the right
Yeah.
pumpkin carving sound. It was like
Not at
sandpaper,
all.
you know, on a fish. I don't even know what that sound was.
it was something else.
It's
I
not
half
what a
expected
pumpkin
him to
sounds
cut
like.
that all the way out, and we find something weird in those pumpkins for some reason.
Mm.
So Michael and Bonnie end up deciding we're going to go talk to Denise again, and they head back to the apartment building. And when they get there, Simon just happens to be there too,
course.
wondering where Denise is, because Denise was supposed to meet him to play tennis.
I mean, he's
And he just
handsome and
starts-
blonde. If he's not in a polo shirt and a sweater, it's not a 1980s
Yeah.
television show.
Mm.
That's
Good
a good
point.
Well, he had tennis shorts on
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
were
he
about.
did.
I think they had like an inch and a half inseam.
Yeah, if he stepped big,
Yes.
you'd see his nut just drop out of there.
And he starts hitting on Bonnie hardcore.
Mhm.
Like he is, again, not subtle whatsoever.
I could not tolerate a person that stood that close. Like, you know, when you run into somebody you kind of know, and then you end up walking in the same direction, you're like, crap, I really don't want to be talking to this person. That's what this whole scene gave me anxiety, made me feel that way. I'm like, nope, I don't. I will do a whole circle around this building to pretend I had to go somewhere else.
In my car, I forgot.
Yeah.
Bye.
On top with Michael right there next to her. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chest
let's take
hair
that
and
weird
everything.
factor up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Mhm. He needed to unbutton another shirt button and let more of the chest hair out, like
Yeah.
as a
assert
warning
dominance.
sign.
Yeah.
Yes. So, so Michael heads off to see Denise. Simon asks out Bonnie to a party, but she ends up turning the tables and says, "Well, why don't you take me to my party?" They make the date. She heads for her apartment. Nobody answers at Denise's place, so Michael comes back out, and once again, Simon's like, "Boy, I hope everything works out with Bonnie. Okay, she's a real great gal. She's just," and he just talking about her and how wonderful she is, and asks about the hallucinations because he knows about that, I guess.
He's known her for 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Yeah. 5 minutes and he's totally indoor.
And perfectly okay talking to her friend that he knows is her friend about this. Like,
Yeah.
whew.
I'd hate for her to be broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bonnie's in the apartment and she calls him up and her place has been ransacked, just tossed. And while they're looking
I'm not gonna
around,
lie, it took me a minute to figure that out because she's been
Same.
unpacking.
Yeah.
So like
Same.
I didn't I was like, what? Wasn't it like that?
Yep. Exactly.
Especially
So-
like
comment on how I live, but it's fine.
as they're looking around for whatever evidence they can find, Bonnie goes into the bathroom, and yet again in the bathroom something weird happens. We see her first look in the tub and there's nothing in there, and then she turns around and is just staring, and she calls Michael in come Michael and Simon, and
She doesn't call
on
him.
the
He
mirror-
like goes to find her.
Yeah, because
And
she's
she just
staring.
Yeah,
does
that's right,
the
that's right.
creepy point.
because in the mirror is some kind of a goblin demon
It's one of
spouting
the door
gibberish.
knockers from Labyrinth.
yes.
And it's just spouting gibberish.
It
And
keeps saying,
so-
can I tell you what I think it was saying when I heard it? It kept yelling,
sure.
no regrets space heater. That's what I heard every time it said a word was no regrets space heater. And I was like, what does
Okay.
that mean?
I do have a question.
Uh-huh.
Did anyone hear it and not immediately know that it was just backwards?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yep,
But
absolutely.
Michael's like, we have to.
I
figure
didn't because
this
I
out.
wasn't thinking that hard about an episode of Knight Rider.
I mean, that's fine.
Well, it turns out that there was a holographic projector installed in the bathroom.
It was my favorite part. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. The holographic
They-
projector with a micro cassette.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I want
favorite
Builder
thing
Ann to
is
build me that prop so I could just have it
Yes.
for myself.
Yeah.
That works through that grill? Sure.
Yes.
It's
Yep.
fine.
in
This is good
multiple
tech.
directions too, because
Mm-hmm.
it had to project into the bathtub a convincing corpse, as
Well,
well as
He could have swapped it when ransacking the apartment.
Yep.
Could have put in another
suppose.
tape and turned it
True.
around. I'm not saying
well,
it's
no, because
great.
the tape
The tape had the sound.
also
Oh,
had
that's
the
right,
water
that's right,
sound.
that's right. All right.
I just
But
love that
could-
it was technology we don't have with technology that's totally archaic. At this point, micro
Yeah.
cassette holographic projector combined. Genius.
Mhm.
So Michael sends the audio to Kit to analyze, and Kit's like, "Yeah, it's backwards.
It's not
Moron.
complicated.
It's not difficult. Here's the audio, and it's an address. It's 36 Fairview Road."
And this is
and
where
so-
subtlety
Yeah.
just all pretense is gone.
This is plot
So-
demands it stuff because I'm like, why would you broadcast your address
Yeah.
even
Well-
backwards?
So I'm yeah. All right. So Michael and Bonnie head to that address, 36 Fairview Road. And they pull
Mhm.
up, and it is gated off.
Mhm.
And at the top of the hill
Mhm.
is the house from Psycho,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
with the music from Psycho playing.
Mhm.
Not a house that looks kind of like the house from
No.
the house
Yeah.
from Psycho.
And Michael's
And
like, this
Mi-
looks familiar.
That was the best part. This kind of nah.
Yeah.
So they head up to the house, It's creepy. There's all sorts of sounds and stuff. And then they see, I think on the garage, like a separate garage, a door open up and there's a light swinging back and forth. So Michael's like, wait here. I'm going to go check it out. And he heads in that direction. And Bonnie just follows him right in. Doesn't
Mhm.
wait at all. And inside they find the dead body. And as soon as that revelation is made, all the doors slam shut.
Yep.
So now they're stuck in there. And gas starts to pour in.
Gas.
I
Mhm,
really
just
love
gas.
No more
how
specificity.
I love how David Hasselhoff looked like he just smelled a fart when he first smelled it. Like,
He tries to
that?
break open like the like barn doors. And
so-
my
yep.
favorite is that Kit's like, I detect gas. Yeah, dog, we know.
Yeah, we smell it. We also detect it. We have noses. It's
Yes, Kit.
unbelievable.
Get up here now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please
Michael
come help.
calls Kit up. Kit drives up, uses a grappling hook to pull the chain off the doors.
I thought he was just gonna ram into the door, but
I
no.
know.
Yeah.
Me too.
Nope. No, so much better to use the grappling hook. And they get out. End
Yeah.
of scene. We cut to a commercial. We come back. And come to find out, the woman's name is Linda. She used to live in Bonnie's apartment. The house where they found her dead body is also owned by the owner of Bonnie's apartment building. It belonged to his mother. That was the other nice scene.
Ah.
Again, subtle.
Yeah.
So that ends. Michael's like, I'm going to go do some more digging. I'm going to go talk to this guy. So Michael heads to Mr. Grant's house. And who's there but Denise? So that's a weird reveal.
Mhm.
So he goes inside. Well, Denise is Mr. Grant's daughter.
Yep.
So there's that is brought up to light. And then he shoos her away. And Michael confronts him. He's like, all right, I know that she was living in that apartment building. What was she to you? Blah, blah, blah. Turns out she was, I guess, extorting money, taking money that belonged to him and his family, his children, all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He gets very upset with Michael and tells Michael to leave. And Michael, as he's leaving, and it's one of my favorite things. It was a great line delivery. Again,
Mhm.
showing the quality of this show. Is as Michael's leaving, he says this.
But I got some special effects of my own, like making you disappear for 20 years, man.
I wrote that down.
It's the man at the
It's
end.
the man.
It really
The
sells
man
it.
at the end.
I
Totally.
literally
Really
quoted that in my notes because I thought it was so stupid. Like it was the worst
Man.
delivery ever. 20
Mm.
years,
I mean, it
man.
wasn't given really good quality material here. Like,
No.
He had something about, I've never watched episode Knight Rider until now, but something about Hasselhoff's delivery in multiple lines throughout this episode just had this ending of just like, it's like, I'm chatting, I'm doing my acting thing, and then just, I don't even care. Like it would just tank right there at the end with like the last word every time.
So they leave, and now we cut to that night at the party. And Bonnie shows up at the party with a guy in a tuxedo and a pumpkin mask, which, by the way, was a silver shamrock pumpkin mask from Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
I saw the thing on the back. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch.
Mhm.
And it's not Simon who was supposed to be bringing her. No, he had business to attend to. It's
Business.
Norman. Yes.
Yeah.
So she's there with Norman. And meanwhile, Michael is apparently on his way back. He had to go somewhere for something. Whatever. They don't explain anything in this episode, including this.
Okay, we got to time out for a second though, because she's dressed as Scarlett O'Hara
Uh-huh.
and he's
Mhm.
dressed as Rhett, but they're not going to the party together.
No.
What, you don't do a couple's costume with someone that you're not going with. That just
Yeah.
seemed because it's not like a group thing. They're not all there. Like it's just that
No, but that
mustache
was
was
part of it. Is
so
there
good.
was
The
there was
mustache.
some kind of romantic tension that I think they wanted to have, especially in season 1, that they sort of were maybe touching on, but like not in this episode at all.
I have
Um,
in a little bit. I'll get to my comments about my feelings about Michael Knight's romantic life because I had feelings in this episode.
Did
but you
anybody
did.
else notice that his Rhett Butler costume was just like a pencil mustache and soul glow all throughout his hair? Like all I could think was like he just put from it just all over, just greased down real good.
It was
Well,
it
was
was soul
for a
glow, a
hot
John Waters mustache, and a Colonel Sanders
Colonel Sanders.
Yes,
It's like
the
for a
Colonel
hot
Sanders.
second, I
Yeah.
was like, Colonel
was gonna
Sanders?
say.
Oh wait, no.
It made me think of the days when I was at camp and we'd find whatever we could find at Goodwill to make a costume of a character.
I mean, he had
Yeah.
perfect access to Central Costumes or whatever that place was. I mean, he was in there
Right? He
before.
had a very good gorilla costume in
Yeah,
the
could
trunk.
have been with authentic gorilla
Genuine.
fur.
Yes, a real gorilla costume. So as Michael's making his way back, he's trying to find out more information about Grant, and he finds out that he was married and had one child. He's like, well, wait a minute. He said children, and sure enough, he had a child from a previous marriage. And then Michael asks Kit, well, what's his name? And we don't get to see it, but we get Michael's reaction, and he has to speed up to get there, and he's trying
We
to
all
call
do.
Devin.
Mhm.
So at the party, Norman is acting a little strange, as he has been all episode, and wants to go sit down. So Bonnie takes him to a couch in the hallway, and they go
dark
to a different.
hmm
Yes, they go to a different part of the house away from the party, and that's when Norman starts acting even weirder.
To
Like,
be fair, Norman seems like he could be a guy with social anxiety. So maybe he
oh, big
does
time.
just need like some quiet time in the chill out room.
Yeah, but then he
But-
starts breathing really heavily and like just arms extended, stalking
gonna say,
towards
Yeah,
her.
he gets a little handsy.
He read
does,
those
a little
signals
bit.
way wrong.
Yeah.
Sex pest.
And then Michael busts in, and they're so now he's searching the house for Bonnie. Immediately going upstairs for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but that's where he goes. Bonnie gets away from Norman by going into Devin's office and locking the door.
Mhm.
And then she turns around, and there's a guy in a Cylon helmet,
Mhm.
and it's Simon.
That was the weirdest costume combo
Yeah.
I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
It really was. It was like a swashbuckling Cylon. It was
Uh-huh.
odd.
And then he had face paint under the mask. Like, what? Why do both?
Yeah.
Mask
Uh-huh.
or
Mhm.
face paint? What are we doing here?
Yeah. And she's like, well, wait, I thought you had business. And he goes, well, my business was you, because he's the killer. Dun, dun. Yeah. Oh dear. So
And then
Michael
he
ends
does
up finding it because he
does the
finds
classic
Norman
villain thing of
monologuing.
telling her
Mhm.
exactly what's like. Come on, my dude.
Villains love to
Mhm.
gloat, man.
They do. They
Yeah, but you got to finish the job. Like, gloat
Mhm.
to a corpse. Like,
Yeah. So
Well, he's got to
Gloat
say it
to
for
a
her so
corpse.
that he can have the cool fight with Michael in a few minutes. So.
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
yeah. So they find Norman. Norman tells him, oh, he's down in the office there. Michael goes and like jump kicks the door off its
So-
hinges. It was a wonderful like.
Mhm.
Just,
Couldn't break
it was
down the
amazing.
rotting down barn door.
Yeah, barn
at
door
the
too
big
much,
hotel.
but this
But-
sturdy English oak door, nothing.
Mhm.
So he gets in there. There's a fight, which is wonderfully choreographed. And look, maybe I've been just a little bit spoiled by watching a lot of Highlander and the fighting in that being good, because this wasn't.
Or having a real sword.
Yeah, not aluminum tape on cardboard,
But
which is what his
so
sword
was-
looked like.
But did he? Because I was trying to figure this out way harder than I absolutely should have. But my theory is that he had that there was a real sword in there that he had disguised to look like cardboard so that he could bring it, because it did sparks off of the shit.
Oh,
the
yeah.
candelabra and the leather chair.
No,
Yes.
I think they wanted us to believe it was a real sword. I don't think they were able to get a real sword for insurance purposes or something.
Probably not. Well, they could nearly run him over with a car, but they can't get a sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the fight. It also has yet another brilliant line, both in writing and delivery.
Mhm.
Because there's, of course, this is a fight in an 80s action television show. There's banter going on.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael says at one point, I wonder what will happen, or wonder who will figure this out, or something like that. And Simon's reaction to that is,
Your wondering days are over, Knight.
and he swings at him. And it's brilliant because it's straight out of the villain playbook. But it's like, you don't have a relationship with this person to say a line like that to them.
No.
No.
You
There's
just
no
met him
predetermined.
yesterday.
Yeah. You have minutes of interaction with each other.
Yeah.
And you immediately jump to,
Your wondering days are over, Knight.
so he distracts him with a curtain and gets away out the window. And then we get yet another car chase. And this one is our second use of the turbo boost / ramp deployment system. The invisible ramp gets deployed.
That's
because
the turbo boost. You jump.
Okay. All right. But at one point, all right. So early on, like when he first goes to visit Bonnie, Michael does the wink click finger guns, which I don't know if you know, but that is a bisexual hallmark. And so I declared canonically. And then at one point during this chase scene, he goes, "I want that man." And I was like, "Oh, see, there you go."
There you
Bingo
go.
confirmed.
Got it pegged.
So it is written. So it is done.
There you go.
So we have our second car chase, and Simon I couldn't figure out what car he was driving. But he drives into a drive-in. And so Michael deploys turbo boost and ends up getting into the drive-in because he can't drive in the same way that Simon did. No, there are cars in the way.
There's cars in the way.
Okay, time out. Just one real
it's
quick
so
thing.
good.
Before this, we have to show the people in the drive-in, and we have to show the nerdy kid who's,
And
the
it's
one
a
that's got to
3D
tell you
movie.
those special
3D
effects
movie
are
is
terrible.
important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those special effects are terrible. I know special effects.
Yep. While they're wearing their paper 3D glasses.
Uh-huh.
So Michael
His
uses his
girlfriend or
turbo
whatever, he's
boost.
just like, whatever, watch the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he turbo boosts right through the screen. Kit smashes through the screen, and then they track down Simon, and it's one more punch and story over. That's it. No wrap up. No.
With one more great line from Michael though. Show's over, man.
And all right, so then this is the other one, right? All of the people at the theater, like at the drive-in, are applauding that he caught and clocked this guy. They have no context for what's going on.
None whatsoever.
That guy could be a murderer.
They don't know what's
Good
happening.
job.
Yeah.
But they knew he was Rhett Butler.
They did. They were like, "Good job, Rhett."
Yeah. What I love
And then
is
he does that was good. The
little
like
pose.
suit, fixing his
Yeah.
suit and do it. He didn't. I was very disappointed. At no point did he say he didn't give a damn, and I was so upset. I was waiting for it the whole time.
That's not the movie they're spoofing. He couldn't use that line.
Yeah.
That's
true.
But I'm just shocked that they got out of their cars. Like, did you see where they ended up parked? They could have easily kept this car chase going. Like, it's not like they were blocked in. Like, the dude could have just reversed and I'm out of there.
Everyone that was parked at the drive-in turned on their headlights.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the one car that was driving around that Michael was trying to find would have been terribly obvious.
Well, I mean, he that turbo boost, that second one, he flew like 35 feet in the air. Like that wasn't
At a
playing
right
around.
angle, by the way, because
yeah.
the driveway was right here. You'd have to go straight right to make it
Well,
through
traditionally,
that screen.
drive-in theaters have a ramp behind the screen. That's the only explanation because it happens so often.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And he smashed through, by the way, like that's a concrete wall.
Yeah.
Okay. If you've ever seen a drive-in theater screen, they're solidly built.
What part of turbo boost are you really not grasping here?
But then that's it. The story just ends there. We get no resolution to anything. I was like thinking, okay, so Simon was the killer. But then who was Grant talking to on the phone? Did Mr. Grant know that Simon was the killer? What was Denise's role in everything? How do these three people get any of this? Nope, none. We don't get any of that. Nothing at all. Just he knocked the guy out, show's over. Instead, we get a silly little moment where Michael and Devin show up at Bonnie's apartment and we meet Esmeralda again. Only now she's not Esmeralda anymore because that was just for Halloween.
Sure, until she walked by flowers that kept wilting on her way.
Because
From
of what
whatever
was
she was.
in her. That's because of what was in her like hot dish that she
Yeah.
brought. Because
Kit
Kit told him
analyzed.
like,
Initially,
What's in it?
I just thought she farted when she was walking past because it was really zoomed in on her butt, and every time she walked past, they would die, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a red flag. Watch out for that."
Silent but deadly.
Yeah. Ooh boy.
what's in the dish? You don't want to know.
Yeah.
No, I actually do. Thanks. That's like your job. Could you
yeah.
just tell me?
And then we never get the resolution to that either.
No, I don't know what's in
It's like,
there.
That's where we end
Kit,
on.
you
He
have-
opens the thing.
Yeah. It's like he opens it up and then freeze frame. But it's like, Kit, you have two jobs: smashing through walls in turbo boost mode and analyzing things that I ask you to analyze. Don't tell me I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's Knight Rider was such a, and this was Knight Rider, like in a nutshell. This is a great
So good.
Yeah.
great episode of Knight Rider because the show was just goofy and it
Yeah.
knew it.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, like, it was created by Glenn A. Larson. To give you an idea of some of the other stuff, if you don't recognize that name off the top of your head, Glenn A. Larson is responsible for either producing, writing, or in some cases creating things like The $6 Million Man, Quincy M.E. What else we got here? Battlestar Galactica
All right.
was his. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, which, by the way, the first time we meet Esmeralda, that costume that she's wearing, that dress with the huge collar and all that, that
Yeah.
was from Buck Rogers. It was actually originally worn by Julie Newmar.
No.
Mm.
I mean, why
And
spend
they
money
used it here.
redesigning things? You know?
Sure.
It's an
Uh,
homage.
Oh yes, of course.
Some other stuff that he did: BJ and the Bear. He was co-creator of Magnum PI, The Fall Guy. This Manimal,
Manimal.
Manimal.
Automan, which if you've not, go to the Wikipedia page of Automan. We need to do an episode of that at some point. It ran for
Excellent.
13. They made 13 episodes. It ran 12 of them, and the pictures alone
So we
look
need the
amazing.
13th, is what you're saying. We need to find
We
the
may.
unreleased 13th.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we do.
So Glenn Larson is not known for his hard hitting, gritty style of television and film, and this show is the perfect encapsulation of that because it's just a silly detective show. Like, he's literally, like we said, he's freelance police. He just does whatever he wants to in his indestructible vehicle. Does make you want a Pontiac Trans Am though? quite a
Yeah,
bit.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I
had a
told my
T
mom that
tops.
this is what we were, watching this week, she got all excited to tell me that when she and my dad like went to a car show relatively recently, there was one there and it looked just like it, and she was so excited. And I was like, Mom, I had no idea.
I had a friend who had an old Firebird Trans Am, and that thing was so much fun to ride around in.
Mhm.
But yeah,
But did it have a turbo boost button?
No, it did not. Unfortunately, we couldn't be so lucky.
Mm.
What I loved about this episode was just the total cheeseball of like how hard they pushed the psycho angle of things, and it was funny because the shower scene where she finds a dead body, it initially, like, I wasn't paying enough attention to the music, so it didn't hit me right away. But then when Norman gets out of the car and I start hearing the psycho theme, and I'm like, oh, and they did the same thing just a minute ago with the shot. What the hell? Oh. Yeah. Also, this was very timely 80s stuff. I have another sound clip I want to play. These were some of the costumes that were at Denise's party the night before. Timely.
Oh yes.
These are timeless references.
Wait, at least a dozen Boy Georges, a couple of breakdancing mummies, and one John DeLorean.
I love the John DeLorean line.
A John DeLorean. Like, what kind of a reference is that? That reference was dated in 1985.
He's
year after
already in
this was
jail for
made.
cocaine by then.
So that got me quite a bit. Also, I another audio piece, because I have to, was when Michael comes into the apartment and they're having their little party.
Mhm.
And it's the first thing that Simon says to him is just,
Nothing fancy. Cheese, a little Beaujolais.
I was like, all right, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Nothing
well,
At
fancy.
the
whatever that
singles
means.
apartment, yes,
Yep.
correct. You've always got cheese and a little Beaujolais.
Exactly.
I want to move
all
into
right.
this apartment building.
That made
so
me feel like
bad.
Steve Rogers in the first Captain America, like fondue. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. So, Steven, this being your first episode of Knight Rider that you've ever seen, what'd you think?
I just missed out on something so great. I loved every minute of this. We've watched some shows where I've just been like, okay, that's all right, you know. I was glued to the screen. I don't know why. Cause part of my brain is going, this is stupid. And the other part is going, this is awesome. And I want like that somewhere in there, that stupid and awesome together mixture, you get just some magical thing. I loved it. I loved it. I loved watching David Hasselhoff do what David Hasselhoff does. I haven't seen a movie with him this young before. I mean, I watched Baywatch, you know, I know what he looked like then, but I didn't really know what he looked like in Knight Rider. He's kind of got a baby face, you know? If it
Mhm.
wasn't for his chest hair hanging out everywhere, that dude's he's got a bit of a baby face, but the puffy hair makes up for it, you know? All that get up going on. I loved it, Travis.
Well, and look, this was the 80s, so chest hair was big at
Yeah,
that
it
point.
was.
We're coming off the 70s. That was the look, right? You didn't wax
Mhm.
back then. He
No.
didn't start waxing until 89 in Baywatch.
It takes
Yeah.
a high degree of confidence to unbutton that many buttons. That's all I'm saying. I get it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. He can do that. I'm not me. No.
No,
Mm-mm.
no. I'm undoing one button maybe, but not
Mhm.
three. I'm not. Yeah,
No?
all he was missing. If this show had been made, say, 5 to 10 years earlier, he would have had a gold medallion.
Yep.
that he would have
Or
been
at
wearing.
least chains.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
That would
something,
get tangled. I
But it
feel
was
like
it was
that.
the 80s. You don't do that anymore. That's
No.
I
that
won't
was-
even
that was
wear a
different.
V-neck. I'm not even that comfortable. All more power to him, you know.
Well, hey, you know what? You're lucky. There are 4 seasons of this show, and they're all on Netflix.
Yeah,
right
they
now, so
are.
you can dive in
Mhm.
and watch them.
I'm doing it.
Amy, what did you think? Did you have fun traveling back to the world of Michael Knight and Kit?
I just wanted to I wanted to watch all of them all the time. It was so good. I had because it's one of those things, right? I feel like I have so little time, right? To consume media. I must consume good media. And I watched this and I said, no, I want to consume fun media. I don't care if it's good. It was
Mhm.
entertaining as heck. And I just want to watch it forever.
Yep. Audie, how about you? Did you have a good time?
I loved it. I mean, I watched Knight Rider back in the day and loved it. I watched this and loved it. And I was thinking about it today. I was like, we just did 4 episodes of this podcast talking about jumping the shark. And jumping the shark was modus operandi for this show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was
There's
just
no
weekly.
jumping the
And it was
shark because it's just
great.
yeah.
That's my secret cap. I'm always jumping the shark.
Exactly.
Like this show, when you read the breakdown of the show, it's like Detective Michael Long was shot in the face
hmm
and got reconstructive plastic surgery, and his
Mhm.
name was changed to Michael Knight, and now he's a freelance cop,
Yeah.
like with an indestructible, technologically superior car. Here's the thing. When we say jumping the shark is a weekly occurrence, there are multiple episodes in which David Hasselhoff also plays an evil version of himself
With the goatee.
Yep.
with the
Oh my
with the
God.
facial hair, with the
Oh,
goatee,
yeah.
Mhm.
where he drives a different specialized indestructible vehicle.
Isn't it
Yep.
car?
So
Yep.
well, there's car. Yep. Yeah.
Oh my
Because that's
God.
the episode after this one was Kit versus Car.
Mhm.
You guys are lying to me. This can't be
I
true.
wish I
No.
was. It's KARR. I'm not lying. I
We are
wish
not.
I
my
was,
word.
and I'm
Mm-mm.
glad I'm not.
Nope.
I'm
Season
so
3,
glad.
episode 6, Kit versus Car. Let me just read you this real quick, all right?
Yeah, please.
Kit's bad-tempered prototype Car is found buried in the sand by mechanic John Stanton and his girlfriend Mandy. Car convinces Stanton to replace his damaged parts and give him a new look. Then he sets out to take his revenge on Kit and Michael Knight. After turbo boosting into the Foundation semi, John and Car take possession of an improved... Hold on. of an improved laser Bonnie was preparing for Kit to use against his evil twin.
Yeah, because we did miss out on the truck. We didn't get the truck in this episode, which
We did.
Steven, the truck is important.
I need to watch all of it. No sleep for me. I just thank God Andor and Marvel are coming up on a break. I'll have plenty of time. It's great.
Andor's not, but you got Marvel's done for a little
I got
while,
time.
so.
I'll find the time.
Yeah.
I don't watch Game of Thrones, so I got something to slot
Yeah.
in. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Now, here's another
Make
interesting
time.
thing that I found when I was doing a little bit of background on the show is it ran from 82 to 86, and starting in 86, they syndicated it. And channels had the option to syndicate the hour-long episodes with about 3 minutes trimmed off of them, or heavily edited half-hour versions of these episodes. How confusing would a half-hour version of this episode be? They had 45 minutes to try and tell the story, and I still don't know what happened.
They used every bit of that 45 minutes. Every
Yeah.
bit.
And then you
Yeah.
cut it in half. It would just be like Michael showing up with some flowers and then going in a car
Yeah.
chase
Yeah.
and then finding the gorilla costume and going in another car chase and finger guns, and the show's over. It's amazing. But yes, this show not only had Michael Knight with an evil twin, but the car had an evil twin too. Steven, you're gonna have some fun.
Yeah.
You're in.
So good.
I'm watching it.
You're in for some good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was Knight Rider and the episode Halloween Night, kicking off our Halloween spooky themed episodes. We did get a little bit of feedback this week.
Yeah, we did.
So on Twitter, how great was that? That was great, wasn't it? Cartoon Rewatch Podcast said, dug this show growing up. My main memory is only of the 2 episodes where they took on the evil Michael Knight, the goatees, the giveaway, and Goliath the truck.
Love it.
Yes.
I got some.
And
I
if
got
you
some
want-
feedback from Phil Rude, who's in the chat. Yeah, I
Excellent.
posted
Heck
this
yeah.
myself, and he replied to me. Knight Rider was 8-year-old Phil's jam. This and The Fall Guy were the first non-kid shows I remember being really into. My parents would even let me stay up late to see if there was a very special 2-hour episode on. Big highlight of my early TV days.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good stuff, and I'm most excited about the fact that it's available on Netflix
Yeah.
right now, which is
For
a
now,
service that
anyways.
so many people have. So
Mhm.
take advantage of it and watch it, even if all you do is put it on in the background and listen to that beautiful, beautiful theme. Because
Yeah.
Doodum, doodum, doodum,
Every time I start
Which
my
has
truck,
been
I want
sampled-
that to play.
doodum, doodum.
it has been sampled over and over. In fact, there is a song from Busta Rhymes in the late 90s that samples both the Knight Rider theme and the theme from Psycho in the same song.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe he watched season 3, episode 6.
He obviously, Busta Rhymes was a big fan of this episode.
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't put it past him.
No.
Yeah, no, actually.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't either. He had a Last Dragon reference in one of his music videos.
Mm-hmm.
He knows
So
what's
you
up.
know the guy's got taste.
Yeah.
If you want to send us feedback, you can do that. We didn't get any emails this week, but you can email thosewerethedays@gmail.com. And we love to get your emails there, or on Twitter @thosedayshow. And you can find the show Monday nights, twitch.tv/twodorkstv, and then as a podcast the following day, anchor.fm/thosewerethedays. Was it Those Were the Days or Those Were the Days show? I never remember what we did there.
Those
Or just-
were the day. You know what? I don't remember. Just find it
just
where
search
you
for-
get your podcast. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
search for Those Were the
Yeah.
Days anywhere.
fire up your podcast thingy and look for Those Were the Days
Look
and
for
look for our faces.
beautiful cartoon faces.
Yeah, thank you,
Yep.
Audie.
Mhm.
I'm using the avatar
Mhm.
everywhere at this point. It's super appreciated. I feel like I owe you money, like royalties, everywhere it shows up.
I will take it.
So I have kicked off our spooky month. Audie, you've got next week. What are you bringing us?
Yeah, this time around, I'm doing the animated show.
Oh,
Hey.
So next week, I have chosen Disney's Gargoyles,
oh man.
season 2,
Ooh,
episode 7, Eye of the Beholder.
yes.
So we're gonna watch some Gargoyles, or as some of us like to call it, Next Generation 0.50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like most of the cast is from the next Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Hmm.
Next Generation, the animated series.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. I can't wait for
I'm
that.
so
Gargoyles
excited.
is great.
And
I
that's
am
on Disney
stoked.
Plus, so
Mhm.
easy to find.
Yep, should be pretty accessible for most folks. So definitely come back and check that out next week. That's going to be a ton of fun. I cannot wait. Gargoyles is awesome.
Yeah, man.
So for me, for Amy, for Stephen, and for Audie, just remember, Michael is out there, and he's working for you.
Man.
I wasn't sure if I should play the finish button or not because your music was better.
Yeah. No, I think it's good.
That's great the
We
way it was.
couldn't hear it on your end, Steven,
Oh.
so we didn't know.
You could. Well, no. Oh,
Yeah.
you couldn't hear the intro music when I played it
No.
earlier. Oh, that's
Nope.
why you were waiting a minute. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all
Whoopsie.
sitting here shaking our heads. And
We're
you're
like,
not
I'm like, nope, can't hear it. So I'm watching the video and I'm waiting for you to point.
I don't know what happened. Yeah, I picked up on you didn't go. I was like, they can't hear it. You can't hear any of that. I can hear it. That's weird. That's what happens. Like,
Yes,
you can't hear
Phil.
that
Gargoyles is on Disney Plus. I think that's one of the things I championed as soon as I heard. Like, I think it was on Disney Plus from the get go, and that was one of my big things that I was like, get Disney Plus, watch Gargoyles, and I will.
Yeah.
I'll be talking and gloating about that next week.
Oh, I know why you couldn't hear it. I'm an idiot. Now you can hear stuff.
Ah.
Hey, there's
Hey, look
something.
at that.
I had it set to the wrong output because I'm dumb.
No,
We all
that's
do that.
but yeah, much better to be like, that's why it didn't work than be
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
I have no idea what happened.
Oh,
Can't-
yeah.
Can't figure it out. I don't know.
This audio system. Jeez. This
Oh,
was a
Knight
great
Rider.
episode. My goodness.
Oh, that was fun.
That was so good.
Oh, but it's gonna be a tough one to do the previously on audio because there's so much good stuff in here.
Oh, yeah.
Although I condense that down to 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's gonna be intense. You have to like listen to
Mm-mm.
listen to the whole thing and just mark down where it's great and then just whittle from there.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't envy
This
that
week's-
job.
It was fun to do last week's though for I Dream of Jeannie.
Okay.
That was fun.
Yeah, I
I'm trying
was
to get
able
better
to-
about doing them
Oh, go ahead.
before Monday
Mhm.
because I had been doing them like Monday after work, and I'm like, no, I need to like I've got time. Why not do it on like a Saturday
Yeah,
when I have a little extra time? And then if I don't get it done, then I still have Monday to finish it up instead of
Mhm.
trying to cram it all in because I got to listen to the whole episode
oh yeah.
through
Yeah.
and find the good bits.
I appreciate you guys for pushing me to stitch all those videos together to make a YouTube video because I really didn't want to do it. But then Audie's like, I made this artwork, and I'm like, dang it.
I mean, we wouldn't have judged it if you were like, nah.
Well,
Because quite frankly, I would have been like,
Yeah,
I have a superhero complex, so if you just frame everything as I'm letting you down if I don't do it, then I will do it. I'll make it happen.
good to know.
that's why none of my solo projects ever go anywhere.
Oh yeah,
Because
I can.
I'm like, I won't let myself down. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
fine
but-
with this.
Yeah, if myself, oh yeah, I don't have any. No, that's fine. As long as I don't tell anyone what I'm doing and they don't get disappointed, I'm great. I can just let that fall off the vine.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, this was good. I'm looking forward to Gargoyles. This is going to be great. Hey everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us. JF Dubois and Dormon92X.
Yeah, everybody.
Both followed
Heck
during the
yeah.
stream. Thanks for that.
Nice.
Darkness Files, Phil Rude. I know I saw Skeezix in here earlier. Huge shout out to Skeezix. And JF was in here. Good stuff. Man, really appreciate it when you guys swing by and hang out with us on this show. 'Cause we're gonna have
Oh,
a we're gonna
that
have a
was
good
so.
one.
Stephen, you like murdered me with your intro. Like I almost died. I was like, "This is it. This is how it ends." I'm just gonna cry forever.
That made me laugh
Oh
so hard
God.
when it's just like the two gorilla hairs that just go together, and it was gorilla hair. Like why? It's not that necessary. None of that was. He could have just said a gorilla suit from a place, and it would have been fine. But authentic gorilla hair just
Yep.
made it.
Authentic gorilla.
so
Oh,
much
we didn't
better.
even talk about how good of a Wi-Fi signal Kit has to always talk to Michael and stuff.
Oh, no kidding. We just
So-
ignore
I
the
know,
town.
Oh, yeah,
that
because
was
I
my-
was
so that was
thinking
my-
about it.
That was my backup intro. My backup intro was like, "We love remaking old TV." And but unfortunately, if we were gonna remake Knight Rider, it would just be Michael walking around with his Apple Watch.
It did make me wonder though, does Michael keep the watch on all the time? Or is it like, you know what, it was taco night last night. I don't need Kit in on this. I'm just gonna take the watch off. Bring it in the
Michael,
bathroom for like
Your
half
heart
an
rate
hour.
and respiration have increased. Yeah, I'm on a date. Shut up. It's going really well. You drove her here, remember?
Oh man, that's so good.
I don't know if this is the right previously on or not. Did I already upload it?
I don't know.
It's unknowable.
The
That's
one
why I
that's-
didn't delete it.
Hang on. I'm gonna
Previously on, those were the days.
Oh, I definitely
But I guess-
stopped it and found the YouTube video of the intro.
that's the old one.
Oh yeah, that's
Yep.
the old one. That's the old.
So get rid
was
of that.
good.
And we'll
By the
upload
way,
the
I
one.
want to know who this Twitter account is. This like retro cartoon rewatch or whatever that was, because there's some cross promotion opportunity in there.
I am hang on, let me get this uploaded and then I'm pretty sure I actually know because I think
Oh, cool.
that it might have been the show that I was on to watch. Hang on, where'd it go? Where is did I not render that?
How dare.
You may never know.
I'm fixing all my audio blips. I had a bunch this week.
Here we go. Found it. That was great, wasn't it? I believe. Yes. So I was on that show a few weeks ago. We watched the Karate Kid animated series from the late 80s.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because that
Oh,
was a thing that existed.
Yeah.
Where
it was.
Daniel-san and Mr. Miyagi and random girl that they meet in episode 1 travel the globe
Yeah.
to get back some like idol or effigy
Mhm.
thing.
I mean, you got to milk it. There was a Bill and Ted cartoon and a Back to the Future cartoon. Like the 80s were all about.
There was a RoboCop
And-
cartoon. There was a Rambo cartoon.
Yeah.
See, but
They would
RoboCop
make
and Rambo
anything.
are not really. I mean, they're not kid movies. But man, did they remarket them? You know, to make
So
them.
Yeah.
Oh,
They did.
when I was a kid, my best friend was he lived 2 doors down, and we used to play He-Man and She-Ra all the time. And then he got really into Rambo, and I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I could be Mrs. Rambo, I guess." Like I was like, "Don't take this away from me. We're just having a good time running around with swords down the back of our shirts." Like,
Yeah.
I was trying to
Mhm.
explain to somebody last night about Rambo and how like First Blood is an amazing
It's
movie and it's a really
great.
it's phenomenal and it's this great story, and then he turns into a superhero fighting people in Afghanistan by the sequel. It's like, what happened here?
Sylvester Stallone has one good movie in him, you know, generally for any series. Like Rocky was great, you know, and then First Blood was great. And then as it goes on, he just kind of turns them into cartoon characters. The longer, and then he reverted and did Rocky Balboa, and he was like, "Hey, I still got it." And then he went and did Rambo, John Rambo, or whatever he called it, and that was also a cartoon. Like it did not carry the same weight.
Oh, that's why, because we were talking about movies of 2008, and that's when the version of Rambo came out that like rebooted the franchise or brought it back.
Mhm.
Right.
And like that was such a cartoon of violence.
It was so bad.
it
It was
was.
just a 50 cal at the end for 20 minutes. Just
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
people were just
just
exploding.
mowing people down, and it's like the First Blood has a body count of 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even Rambo that killed him. He just fell out of a helicopter.
Right.
And the most, I forget what they called it, the most recent Rambo. What it was, Last
Last
Blood?
Blood.
Yeah.
Woo!
I saw that at the Alamo Draft House,
Lord.
and it's more fun when you're drinking, but it
I was
still
gonna
sucks.
say.
It was bad.
Darkness Files is
Oh,
right.
boy.
That's why Demolition Man stopped at
Oh,
one movie.
thank God. That's a legendary film, you know?
Mhm.
Sometimes you got to know when to fold them.
Yep.
But anyway,
This is true. This is true.
Rambo blood transfusion coming soon. That's good, Darkness Files. Why are you in the Discord? You should be in the Discord. All y'all should join the Discord. I don't know. I might have got a report of this show. Hold on. I know all that just disappeared. No, I don't think anyone's posted on my little forum posts in there. Whatever.
No, I meant to. Well, I went to look for it and it wasn't there until this morning.
Yeah, I forgot to post it. I was like, well, maybe I'll catch some last minute people. It'll be fine. It's
Darkness
just another
Files.
place.
Jim Carrey had 3 cartoons going at the same time of properties of his.
I
And that's
believe
true.
it.
The Mask had a cartoon.
Ace
Ventura, Pet Detective had a cartoon.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what the third one was
Did
at the
Dumb
time.
and Dumber get one?
Maybe. But the funny thing is, if you ever watch any of those, they're less animated than Jim Carrey is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Oh yeah, Dumb and Dumber. He says, "Yeah,
Dumb and Dumber.
Yep.
Oh,
I
look at
believe
that.
it. I believe it. There's a movie I can't get Stephanie to watch with me, no matter how hard I try. I just can't do it. It's just stupid. I'm like, I know, but it's good stupid. She's like, no, it's not. You're wrong. Like me and 300 billion other people are wrong.
It does have one of the better jokes I've ever heard, though, when he's got the briefcase and he's like, "Oh, her name was on it. What was the name again?" It's like silly, sappy Samsonite. Oh, I was way off.
He
Yep.
actually says her real name. He says Swanson.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Swanson,
Samsonite.
sappy, slappy.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Did you? Okay, so YouTube this for later. 2 dudes built a little motorbike just like the Dumb and Dumber motorbike and drove it actually from Nebraska to Aspen, Colorado. And
I
it's
saw that.
wonderful to watch because it's
Yeah.
it's basically impossible to do, but they figured it out and they made it happen. Almost got carbon monoxide poisoning at one point because the gas was running really rich into the engine, and the dude on the back is just inhaling gas fumes for like 30 minutes. Like, I don't know if I can do this.
I will say that as Farrelly Brothers movies go, that is one of the least gross out of the Farrelly
Yeah, it
Brothers
is.
movies.
Yeah.
Is Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
I'm not too much into the Farrellys for the cringe factor, but that one's I could watch that at 8 and it somehow was as funny as it to me as it is at like 37. I can watch it now and just be like, okay, I'll take it. Oh man. But
I mean,
anyway,
it's kind of
gotta
like
close this
watching
down.
Ace Ventura. Like
Oh,
I can
yeah.
watch Ace Ventura
Okay.
now, and about